Welcome to Growing Pains, a podcast of the Sumner County Republican Freedom Caucus. I'm your host, Deanne DeWitt. Today we are joined by owner and principal broker of One Stop Realty and Auction, former county commissioner, community advocate, a stellar candidate for Tennessee state representative, Brian Stewart.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you letting me be here.
Well, you are busy and you are very active in this community. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity that make time in a very busy schedule that you're keeping right now, juggling a lot. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to have our listeners get to know you a little bit behind, the man behind all of this. So why don't we just start and talk about, we met as county commissioners. You were on there for 2 years.
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
about right? So you are known, I think, widely in this community for how much you give back in public service, in addition to community service. Talk a little bit about your journey to the man you are and why you are so committed to giving back to this community.
Sure. First and foremost, thank you for having me here today, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to connect with your audience and let them know a little bit more about me and everything. And yeah, I mean, how I came about, being involved in the community was just, honestly, it was an easy transition for me. I started in real estate in 2013 with One Stop Realty. There was no auction at the time. It was just One Stop Realty. So I started there in 2013. I had set a goal when I did join there that I wanted to be a broker. So you have to be in the business 3 years in order to become a broker. So after that 3 years transpired, maybe 4, I ended up getting my broker's license. And lo and behold, the owner at the time called me and said, "Hey, can you come up here and meet us at our house and discuss some things?" And I was like, "Sure." I was like, I felt like I was being called to the principal's office, So I go up to the house and I meet them. We have some dinner, and they said, "Hey, look, this is a transition in our life and where we're at, and we want to know if you would like to buy the company." And immediately my heart said yes, but my brain was like, "All right, Brian, make sure that everything's good, numbers and all the things that go with buying a business." And first and foremost is, I'm a Christian. I prayed about it. I talked to my wife about it. And, ultimately we made the decision to buy One Stop. So bought One Stop Realty in 2019, and I've been the principal broker and owner since then, and moved us from our old location. Well, a lot of people know us from over beside Maple Motors in Hendersonville. I love being beside the classic cars and getting to see all my dream cars out there every day. But it was nice to have a different location and have a little bit more of an updated office and so forth, so on. So we're on Indian Lake now, which is just a great location for us, right across from Hendersonville High School. And it's afforded me, talking about community and advocacy and being involved, that was a door opening right there for me to say, hey, I can help with the football team and, become a sponsor for HHS or for Beach or Liberty Creek. And I've done all those, right? So it literally was, like I said, just an easy transition for me to say, yes, I want to help in my community because that's what the community needs. And if you have the ability to help, that's what you need to do, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that was where Shelley Tucker, who was another former commissioner with us, it's her fault.
Oh,
that
perfect. Shout out to Shelley Tucker.
Yeah, it's her fault because I got involved with the outreach committee, community outreach, and I just was hooked. We started doing blood drives. We started doing Easter egg hunts for these government-assisted daycares. Just all kinds of different events. Wow. We even, and this is my little claim to fame, I even was one of the ones that started the Haunted Hustle, the 5K that we run around Halloween every other year at Indian Lake.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my little, one of my little things that I wanted to create to try to give back to the community, and we gave back to Habitat for Humanity with that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sure.
One of my favorite local nonprofits, and there's many of them.
Oh, absolutely.
I know you've been really involved with Grace Place. You've been on the board there. You do so much for first responders. Talk about that too. I mean, how's your heart connected so much to that sphere?
Well, first off, you said Grace Place. I went to a Grace Place lunch, and I just fell in love with that. What they're doing to give women a second chance. I mean, who doesn't need a second chance? We've all made mistakes in our life, and I just felt like it was an awesome opportunity to be a part of something that was definitely bigger than me, and to be able to see what the impact was of us helping these women get back on their feet. Dinesh has done an absolutely fantastic job there. Her board, the staff, everybody's worked together to make this thing happen. And ultimately, now we have this great community that's going to be coming up on New Shackle over here. So
incredible. Yes.
It is. It's absolutely wonderful. I was thankful to be a part of that land purchase whenever we bought the land and everything. All that being said, Grace Place is just one piece of my heart, right? But it's a big piece. And so I love supporting these women and the children that they have. Habitat for Humanity was the same way. I was on the family selection committee with them, and it was an opportunity for me to see people. For me as a realtor, I'm giving people the American dream, right? I'm helping people realize that aspect of their life and having a roof over their head. The most basic need in human nature is to have a roof over your head. And so being a part of that was absolutely awesome. And then to be able to transfer that to the Habitat for Humanity Sumner County, it was fantastic. Susan was the first director that I worked with, but Kate Ritchie and them, absolutely amazing. They are doing a wonderful job there. So we were a part of the Pafford Place with my company and with Sumner Realtors and everything. So yeah, we have definitely shown some love for the Habitat for Humanity, and we will continue to do that. But yeah, the first responders. So first responders, police, EMS, all these men and women that literally run toward danger instead of running away and protect our communities and protect us as citizens. Why in the world would you not support that? How could you, turn a blind eye to the needs of those men and women? And I learned that on the county commission of how we could provide and how we could give back, with life-saving packs or, equipment that they use on the lake or equipment that they drive down the road. We was part of bringing the new bus in and everything and seeing all the fancy stuff that was on there that helps people. And we just thought it was cool, right? But we knew in the back of our mind, this is going to help somebody. It could be the difference between life and death, that bed being able to be lifted out of the back of that bus instead of by people. It's on a motorized arm. So spending that extra money and helping them with that, I mean, that's just a no-brainer, right?
Right.
So, helping the police, helping the fire, that has come natural to me as being a realtor because, when people move to Middle Tennessee and they ask me about buying a home, the three big things, and this is part of my platform, three big things that they ask for: schools, are my kids going to have a great education? Are our neighborhoods safe? Can I freely walk around the neighborhood? And do we have great infrastructure? Do we have roads? Do we have water? Do we have electric? All the things that you need to have a community.
Sure.
So safety in the neighborhoods was just hand in hand whenever we were on the commission of helping with the police and with the fire, EMS, et cetera. Always going to help those guys out.
Yeah. Well, I'm tempted to kind of jump right into that because, like you said, those fundamental issues, they connect you to your community and all these things you're doing, but they connect you to your role in public service. And obviously, there's a big step that you are contemplating or working towards. So I want to come back to that. But before we do, mentioning both Habitat and Grace Place kind of in the same breath, what do those agencies and their work illuminate for you about what's really going on the ground in our community? And, they're dealing with some really tough issues of not just the families, but, the affordability and these, the challenges of a thriving Sumner County. That's, we keep coming back to some certain, there's certain key issues. So what have those organizations shown you about the needs in our community?
I think it's a great question. I mean, affordability in housing is always going to be a big topic. And, let's just put it in perspective. The average home in Sumner County right now, 300 to 400, maybe 350, give or take. The average home in Hendersonville, 500,000, 475. So when you look at that, when you talk about affordability, when you talk about being able to have first-time home buyers and the younger generation be able to buy that American dream, it's really tough. It's really tough for them to do in Hendersonville, and it's really tough to do in most areas of Sumner County,
right,
or surrounding Nashville. I mean, it's not just us; it's
right.
a lot of people. Now, all that being said, there's ways that you can, combat that. You can start, looking at different things that you can do. One of them being is we were talking about impact fees. Impact fees has always been a big topic, right? Does the builder actually pay them? Do they pass them on?
Right.
And look, a lot of times the buyer is the one that's going to have to eat the cost of that impact fee.
Right.
So, going to what we've done in the community and the relationships that I've built. I was at the BOMA meetings in Hendersonville and was able to talk to them about, what it looks like for a buyer from the buyer's point of view of what that impact fee can do and how it, no pun intended, literally impact their life.
Yeah.
And, so that was something that I felt really strong about. I wanted to be able to talk to the people at BOMA about and say, hey, look, if somebody qualifies for a certain amount of home, this impact fee could disqualify them and everything. So ended up being, with the help of a great BOMA and the mayor, everybody worked together to bring that cost down on the impact fee. So I thought that was a big win. I really do. But there's a lot of things going on where, Grace Place, Habitat, they're all fighting for the best for what the constituents need, right? And that's what my job would be, right? Is we want to make sure that the community that I live in, that I work in, that I play in, is taken care of. And ultimately, that's what a leader's supposed to do, right?
Absolutely.
You make everybody better around you. It's not about you. It's not about a title. I could care less about a title. What I'm doing it for is because I actually care about the community. I want to give back. I want to help. I want to be that voice for the people of, that live in the district to say, hey, this is what we need in this area. And it's not just Hendersonville. The district covers, Sumner County covers Millersville and everywhere else. I mean,
Sure.
Gillisville. There's so many people out there that need a voice and need somebody to stand up for them and talk for them. And that's the job.
Well, and this isn't exactly what you're talking about, but even as a county commissioner, you might represent, the area from which you live, but you really have a voice and a vote that covers the entire county.
Sure.
And that same thing applies, looking at the state level, very different issues and very different challenges when you think of having a vote that represents the voice of all of Tennessee in our Tennessee legislature. And, now you're having to balance the needs of rural communities that, we don't even really recognize here. Sumner County has rural areas, but not like some rural just regions of the whole state. So it's really important to have that perspective and know that your voice and your vote in these situations really has a much broader impact. So thinking about that, like, are there some lessons? I mean, I learned a lot serving, for your term on the county commission. Any particular lessons that come to mind that you take from that experience? Transparency,
open-mindedness, the ability to discuss, the ability to communicate. You just said it a minute ago, literally, that, it's not just a decision for District 45 or for Sumner County. It ultimately can be a decision that affects Tennessee, right? And whether you're in Memphis or Mountain City or anywhere in between, it doesn't matter. The state of Tennessee is a absolutely wonderful place to live. And we are just a part of that, right? Sumner County, in my opinion, is one of the best counties in the state. But there's other counties that will need attention and need help and so forth, so on. So yes, we are going to do everything we can to bring money and to bring funds and to bring the needs of Sumner County to light. And that's what we want to do, is we want to focus on that for sure. But we also need to make sure that we do cover the greater good of Tennessee, because there are people out there that are asking for help from Sumner County or from Memphis, et cetera. So yes, we all need to work together with that. And I think that's a big part of it is, when I was on the commission and even in my real estate career, my ability to communicate with people and talk with them and relate, I think is a big plus. And when I speak of like people that are helping and want to support and help out on the campaign, the people that I have earned this trust with know that whatever they ask of me, I'm going to do if I say I'm going to do it, right?
Right.
And so I think that's what people want, is they just want to know where you stand and are you going to stand by what you said. And that literally to me is the premise of it all, because you're not going to agree on everything. I mean, that's human nature is where we're going to disagree, right? But at the same time, you can hear people out, you can have conversations, and you can come to an agreement. Maybe it's an agreement to disagree,
right,
but you can come to an agreement to some way or another that can ultimately help those people around you.
Totally. And it takes the right kind of personality to navigate that and navigate it well. And knowing you as a friend, I know that is something that is so genuine in your character. So let's talk about the run for the Tennessee House of Representatives. Mm-hmm. And maybe kind of talk about your platform. What are you hearing from voters? What are their top issues? What are your top issues?
Well, I would say the big thing that people talk about is, of course, taxes. They don't want taxes raised. They don't want the government's hand in their business. And look, rightfully so. We want less government involvement at the local level. We want the local the local delegates to take care of the matters of what's going on in Sumner County. That's their job, right? That's what they're elected for. You don't need that big brother mentality to come in and say, "Oh, you're not doing this right," And I kind of look at that like, as far as me as a broker, my agents that I have in my office, I'm not micromanaging them, right? I'm not standing over their shoulder and saying, "Hey, you're not doing that right. You got to do something different." I let them operate. They're independent contractors, right? Under my brokerage, and I let them do their business and everything. And I think that's kind of how the state and the locals work together is, when the state can help, yes, let's help. But let's not be down there interfering and causing a problem for the locals and so forth, so on. So I think that was a big part of it. Education is always huge. Folks are always talking about that. And literally, I talked about this the other day when I was out talking with some constituents and everything. Even if you don't have kids, if you don't have children and you're not, involved in the schools can still have an impact on your life. They have an impact on your property values and everything, because that's where a lot of people will choose a home based on a good school in the county and in the neighborhoods and everything. So, there's a lot to look at as far as like, do we want to keep improving our schools? Absolutely. I've met with a lot of these state organizations that are wanting to help and protect our students and have the students first. And in my opinion, that's what it's all about. The students should come first, right?
Right.
Now, whenever you're talking about the staff and the people that are there teaching these kids, you absolutely have to take care of them, And that was one thing that I was so happy to be a part of, is when we started going around and doing the Teacher of the Month with One Stop and being a part of that and giving back to these teachers and letting them know we appreciate them. That meant the world to me, and it still does. We still do it. And
it's so inspirational.
Well, and it's awesome to be able to hand them the plaque, and hand them that picture of the paper and their photo and just shake their hand and say thank you, because I think it's a hard job to go in there and teach these children who, let's be honest, even like when I was a kid, I didn't want to be in school. I wanted to go to recess or I wanted to do whatever. So, it's hard to keep the attention. So those teachers that can do that and can go above and beyond without being asked should be recognized for sure. Because all of our teachers, one way or another, are impacting the lives of our future generations. And ultimately, Deanne, that's what we're here for, right? We want to make sure that we have a great generation of Tennesseans coming up to where they can continue doing what we're doing. And that's keep moving the ball forward one foot at a time.
Yes, totally. Well, and that's if there's something that has activated me over the years, it's the education and knowing that what we are providing now is it's so much more invested in the future. But
That's
investing in the future is a privilege, and it's part of the call. So I want to make sure we spend some time talking about the support that you have. As a representative of the Freedom Caucus, we are so grateful for your willingness to step into this campaign and to run for this seat. We support you 100% or 1,000%, whichever one's
Thank you.
legitimately possible.
Yeah.
So we are extremely grateful and very supportive, but you have a long list of supporters. So talk about some of the endorsements that have come along, and some of them really, really early in your campaign. I mean, like shockingly early, but
Yeah. Well, and look, once again, the Lord is all I can say. I have prayed about this, and I said from the very beginning, back in August of last year, when I decided to make this run, I was approached by people that asked me to do this and said, Brian, we just think you would be great. And I said, okay, I am flattered. I said, but going back to just like whenever I bought One Stop, I said, I want to pray about it. I want to talk to my wife.
Yeah.
And I want to find out from the people that are around me in legislation and elected officials, all that. I wanted to find out from friends, am I making the right decision here? Because it is. It's a big decision. And so I definitely wanted to make sure we had the support that we needed to do this. And so I hit the ground early. And, and that was intentional. That was me making sure, that I had the support from the people I needed the support from. So early on, having the county mayor come on board, fully endorse me. Our director of schools, the director of roads, the road superintendent, even talking with the sheriff. Also with our here lately that's been announced, we have, the police and fire with Hendersonville and Goullettsville. Also the State Fire Association, which was amazing. AFP came on board.
Americans for Prosperity,
That's
for those
correct.
that don't know that acronym offhand. Yeah. They care a lot about the prosperity of this community, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's the two that really, really shook my world is before Christmas last year, I got a phone call from Senator Farrell Hale, and I got a phone call from Majority Leader William Lamberth. And both of those, I'm going to call them young men, because you can't just say, oh yeah. But both of those young men came out and fully endorsed me and supported me. And I'll be honest with you, it was truly humbling to have going from our county mayor to our superintendents of schools, the roads, all these people that came on board, Deanne, to help us and wanted to be a part of what we were doing and believed in me. It was absolutely huge. I mean, it literally, I had tears in my eyes. I mean, It was crazy. And what the next step that I took was we had our kind of coming out party. We had a friend raiser at Jolly Ollie's over in Hendersonville, and it was
Packed house.
Yeah. And before it started, Kelly and I, my wife, we were standing up there, and there was about 10 people, give or take, up there, and it was about 5:15. It started at 5:30. And I'm sitting there going, oh gosh, what did we do here? Are we doing the right thing? And so I grabbed Kelly. We walked back to where the bathrooms are at in the upper room there. And we just said a prayer. And I literally just asked God, I said, God, if this is meant to be, if you're, just show me what you're thinking here. Am I making the right decision? And Deanne, it was absolutely and truly amazing, to have 140 plus people come into that room to support us. And, the elected officials that were there, all the support from every nook and cranny of Sumner County that you can think of was absolutely amazing. My wife and I had to take a big, deep breath afterwards. And once again, I had some, emotional moment. And, it was just, it was truly amazing to see that kind of support in that room. And really, it bolstered me. It made me say, hey, this is absolutely what we need to do. All these people in here are supporting me for a reason. I want to make sure that I work hard and I don't let them down, because that's what they're asking for, is for me to go out and earn this position. And, an endorsement goes a long way. But ultimately, the hard work that comes from the candidate themselves is what gets you there, right?
Right.
So all that being said, look, the endorsements, the people that are supporting us, I can tell you now, I wake up every morning thanking the Lord for where we're at. I really do. But I know that I need to get out and still meet people, talk with folks, and make sure they understand that I don't rest on my laurels. We're going to keep working hard. We're going to keep moving forward. And, ultimately it's God's decision how this all turns out. But I can tell you, I know he probably has me on speed dial right now. I know I have him there. And, and I may get a notice, hey, we hear you, but I feel like praying, and I feel like, just people seeing you as a real person and knowing that your heart's in this, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. Well, your heart is no doubt in this, and I could probably take this for another hour of conversation, because you have a lot to offer. But I'm gonna let it end on that note, because it's perfect. You've got a giant heart for it, and you are going to work your tail off, no doubt. And certainly in these few weeks ahead, some busy days. So God be with you, and thank you for your time today. This has been a privilege.
No, Deanne, it's my privilege to absolutely be able to sit here and talk with you guys. And I definitely appreciate the support and the help from the Freedom Caucus. Thank you so much for that. It's, as I said, the county, the district, all the people that are behind me, I just can't tell them how much I appreciate them. It really means a lot. And, I will never let that go understated. I am thankful every day for that support.
It's what makes you who you are. It's great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.